So Stacey Abrams was asked about reparations. And after her answer, a lot of people were like, "What you talking about, Stacey?" Welcome to Escaping the Echo Chamber. So what we're going to discuss is basically not just what Stacey Abrams had to say, but what a path to reparations actually looks like. How we actually get to reparations. That's what we're talking about in addition to what Stacey Abrams had to say. And my first question to you, all of you watching, is what do you envision is the path to Black Americans actually getting reparations? Not just studies for reparations, but actually getting the reparations packages to Black Americans all over this country. How do you envision that happening? Write it down in the comment section below, and we'll be talking about this more as time goes on. But Stacey Abrams is at a campaign event. She's on the road, and if you don't know, she's running for governor of Georgia again. She ran for governor of Georgia before. She lost, although she actually never conceded defeat. But what she did do after that, after losing the election, guess what she did? She stayed in Georgia and built a machine. She built a machine for the Democrats to get their numbers up, and Stacey Abrams may very well be the reason why the Democrats took control of the Senate with Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. She put in some work, and now, as a reward, it's looking like the Democratic Party is all behind her in pushing for her to become the next governor of Georgia. But during this campaign event, a gentleman from the audience stands up and asks her a question. The question is, what are we going to do about legalization of marijuana and reparations for Black Americans? And she gave an answer. There was a lot in her answer, but after she gave the answer, a lot of people on Twitter, particularly FBA Twitter, for those of you that aren't familiar, Foundational Black American Twitter, and I say that because there is a movement, there's a group of individuals in social media and elsewhere that identify as Foundational Black Americans, Tariq Nasheed being the originator and the person who coined the term. And so a lot of these people are fans and or followers of Tariq Nasheed, and they were going in. They were upset. They didn't like what was said. They were like, hey, she's babbling. She's just word salad. She's not saying nothing. And my take was, I watched the video again and I'm like, okay, I heard what she was saying. I understand what she was saying. What I was trying to figure out is, why were the individuals who were upset so upset about what she said? Now, let me tell you what she didn't say. She didn't say, I support reparations and I'm going to do whatever I need to do to fight for reparations. You can count on it. That's not what she said. That is definitely not what she said. And that's something we have to keep in mind. What she said was that we don't have the votes to get reparations passed, to get marijuana legalized at a federal level at this point. She said we need to either do one of two things: get rid of the filibuster or get a 60 vote majority. And so when she said we, she didn't mean she didn't mean Black Americans. That's something to pay attention to as well. She meant Democrats. Now, there's some of you who say, yeah, she's a Democratic shill and, she's caping for the Democrats. Granted, I'm not going to say you're wrong that Stacey Abrams is D1, Democrat first. That's the people she is loyal to. That is the people she's fighting for. That is the organization that gives her support and ultimately has helped her become as wealthy as she is, because she is now very wealthy. What I do want to point out is somehow some of what she's saying is actually right. We got to pay attention to that, because whether you like her or not, if she's telling us information that is factual, that is accurate, that we need to be paying attention to, then we need to be paying attention to it. In light of her saying that we need a 60 vote majority, and she's talking about Democrats, not Black Americans, not even pro-reparations candidates, but Democrats, there's truth to that. Because if you look at the Republican Party, I'm curious if you can find one Republican that is either in the U.S. Senate or the U.S. Congress that supports reparations for Black Americans. I don't think there's even one. I don't think so. And here's why I say that. Because every time Every single time reparations is brought before Congress, every single time, the Republicans don't say, oh, well, we feel reparations should take this form, or we feel reparations would be best handled like this, or we feel. That's not their take. Every single time, what the Republicans do is produce some bootlicking bastard who will come on and say, black people don't need reparations. They've had Herschel Walker do it, who is now running for Senate in Georgia. They've had Larry Elder do it, who last year ran for governor of California. Both of these are black men. Both of these black men have been brought, specifically selected by the Republican Party, by Republicans, to oppose and interfere with reparations for black Americans. That is the Republican stance. The current Republican stance, right now, we've got to realize that the current Republican Party stance is anti-reparations and anti-black. That is the stance of the Republican Party. Burgess Owens himself, who is a sitting, I forget if he's in the Senate or the Congress, but I think he's in Congress, who also anti-reparations and was on that committee to actually interfere and speak out against reparations for black Americans. The Republican Party's official stance on reparations is no. That's their official stance. So if we remember that, then that means that in order to get a 60 pro reparations movement, we'll need 60 non-Republicans, at the very least, 60 non-Republicans in Congress, in the Senate. At least 60 non-Republicans. And you know why I say non-Republicans? Because people have been talking about third parties, and we need to pay attention to that. That's why I say it's important to actually listen to what Stacey Abrams said. She said if we don't have 60 votes, because she's right about this. If the Republicans have 41 votes, then it's a no-go. If the Republicans have 41 votes, unless somehow we can get pro-reparations candidates in the Republican Party. Unless we can get Republican candidates that are pro-reparations for black Americans. That's the question. Can we do that? I don't think we can. And I don't even think we want to, because the question is, what will they want in return? Because whether you like Stacey Abrams or not, the point is, if she's accurate with her numbers, we got to pay attention to the numbers. Because if we're relying on getting reparations legislation passed through the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House of Representatives, then we need to know what the numbers are. But it goes deeper, because the question is, and this is what Stacey Abrams didn't say. She didn't say, are all Democrats in support of reparations? That's going to be something that we're also going to have to pay attention to. So in addition to realizing that the Republicans' party official stance on reparations is no, it's a middle finger. That's what their official stance on reparations is, the middle finger to us. That just because we have Democrats in office doesn't automatically mean they support reparations. Remember, both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are anti-reparations. And 3, getting those numbers might require third-party candidates. But that's another discussion that's going to take place down the line, and there's a whole lot of work that has to go into that. And the whole point is, our path to reparations is not going to be an easy one. We cannot think that just getting on social media is enough. Just trending on social media is actually enough to get it passed. That just talking about it on social media, or even getting people to talk about it, even getting politicians to talk about it, that's enough to actually make it happen. There's going to be a lot of work that needs to take place for us to actually get it. And so we have to be asking the questions, do we want this legislatively? And if so, how do we get those numbers? How do we get the numbers of making sure that we've got 60 votes in the Senate and the requisite amount of votes in the House to get over the threshold? How do we do that? That's going to take a lot of work. That's going to take so much focus and so much more information. It's going to take us being actively aware of who all of these candidates are. We can't just allow them to just get into office and never get asked the question. So we have to be pressing that. Hey, you get AOC in the room? AOC, what is your stance on reparations? Because I seem to remember the last time she was talking about it, she started talking about over there. She started going rambling on.
Interesting area of where we are as a country about identity, because like, what does it mean to be Black? Who is Black and who isn't, especially as our country becomes more biracial and multiracial. Same
and on about, well, what does even Black mean? Like, so this is not going to be an easy thing, and we need to pay attention as to what it's going to take to get this done. And the first step is identifying all of the politicians, all of the sitting politicians that are pro reparations, all of the candidates that are pro reparations, and making sure that we are keeping track of who these people are. As always, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. If you disagree, if you think, no, Stacey Abrams didn't answer the question, she's just babbling, I'm like, whoa. What did you expect her to say? I know you wanted her to support reparations, but what did you expect her to say in terms of how we're going to get that? If you disagree with me, go ahead and give me a thumbs down, but state in the comment section what you expected her to say. What would have been an acceptable answer from Stacey Abrams? Let me know that in the comment section, in addition to what you see as your plan for reparations, and we'll be discussing this so much more in the future. I'll see you next time.